Crews across South and West Wales are continuing to fight 20 wildfires as emergency services warn that risk remains high for next week. South Wales Fire and Rescue Service said on Sunday it was continuing to respond to the major incident that crews have been tackling for 14 concurrent wildfire incidents. On Friday, Prime Minister Andy Burnham announced that the military had been deployed. Also on the programme, a reformed UK government would cut $50 billion from the welfare bill, with almost 3 million people seeing their disability and sickness payments withdrawn or changed. Reform's Treasury spokesman Robert Jenrick said the plan would be the biggest shake-up of the welfare state in a generation. Also on News at 10 tonight, the aftermath of the Starbridge fire. Families view their homes after 3 days. A grass fire at Starbridge Golf Club spread to homes on Thursday, destroying 19 homes and damaging 18 others. And Ukraine struck Russia with hundreds of drones on Sunday, killing at least 6 people in one of Kyiv's largest aerial attacks of the war. Meanwhile, a Russian missile attack on the central Ukrainian city of Lviv killed 2 people and wounded 14 others.
This is STV News at 10 with Stephen Woolridge.
Good evening. Crews across South and West Wales are continuing to fight 20 wildfires as emergency services warn that risk remains high for next week. On Friday, Prime Minister Andy Burnham announced that the military had been deployed to South Wales to help firefighters on the ground. The Ministry of Defence have now confirmed 200 personnel were deployed, with South Wales Fire and Rescue Service confirming today that 110 troops remain deployed on the ground. Their main task is to provide logistical support such as water distribution and to help free firefighters and specialist responders to focus on front-line firefighting. Deputy Chief Fire Officer Adam Openshaw said that the combined efforts of everyone involved in this major incident continue to play a vital role in keeping people safe during these exceptional circumstances. We know that this is a challenging and worrying time for many people. Please be assured that we remain committed to protecting our communities and keeping the people of South Wales safe. Mid and West Wales Fire and Rescue Service have also confirmed that they are continuing to deal with 6 wildfires in their force area on Sunday. On Friday evening, millions of people in England and Wales received an alert on their mobile phones devices, warning them of a very high risk to wildfires nationally. It came after Prime Minister Andy Burnham described Britain as a tinderbox, and a temporary ban on disposable barbecues was put in place. The transmission of the message, first in Welsh then English, sparked criticism from some politicians, with Reform Wales describing it as dangerous. A party spokesperson said in a post on Facebook, the overwhelming majority of Wales speaks English. The emergency announcement should be bilingual, but English should come first to avoid any panic or confusion. The Welsh Conservatives also said that any future emergency alerts must be sent simultaneously in English and Welsh. South Wales Fire and Rescue Service said on Saturday evening that it had already received 736 calls compared with an average of 300, and urged people to only call 999 if there was a new emergency to report. SWFRS said it believes some of the wildfires in the region have been started deliberately. On Friday, South Wales Police said 4 14-year-old boys had been arrested on suspicion of arson after a fire was allegedly set on a mountain near Pleasant Heights in Porth. South Wales Chief Forester Finn Monaghan told BBC Radio 4's Broadcasting House programme on Sunday, "There is a real arson problem here. It's staggering that our society, there are people who are prepared to go out and not just light a fire, but actually put people's lives in danger. This is really, really irresponsible behaviour. If there's anybody out there who knows of an arsonist, please do report them to the police, because this needs to be taken very seriously." A reformed UK government would cut £50 billion from the welfare bill, with almost 3 million people seeing their disability and sickness payments withdrawn or changed. Reform's Treasury spokesman Robert Jenrick said the plan would be the biggest shake-up of the welfare state in a generation. Under the plans, Reform would abolish personnel independent payments, PIP, and the health element of universal credit for working age adults, the Telegraph reported. Jenrick said that 6.9 million people were receiving disability benefits, but this is not an epidemic of broken backs and lost limbs. As since 2002, the share of working age people claiming for mental health and behavioural conditions had tripled. Under the planned reforms, due to the unveiled in detail on Monday, a new regularly reviewed health security allowance would provide support for the gravely ill and severely challenged, Jenrick said. Cash payments for low-level conditions would end and be replaced with disability support accounts run by local councils and mayors to cover costs such as equipment, adaptations, transport and personnel assistance. And employers could be obliged to pay for a return to work cover insurance to fund the cost of the first 2 years after an employee is signed off sick. Jenrick said firms would then have a strong economic incentive to return the employee to work. People who had not returned to work within 2 years would go through a single rigorous assessment conducted in person to screen out vexatious and fraudulent claims. Writing in the Telegraph, Jenrick said, "We will not pretend this is painless. Existing claimants will be reassessed over 3 to 4 years. We estimate that 2.16 million will keep their present cash entitlement in full, while 2.89 million will see theirs modified or withdrawn, concentrated where recent growth has been most explosive. He said the state would be there to support people who need it, but dumping our young people onto welfare isn't compassion, it's neglect. We are not lifting people out of misfortune, we are abandoning them to it and calling it kindness." Jenrick said reform proposals would save more than double the £23 billion promised by Kevin Bagonot's Conservatives, with £22 billion of the savings coming from changes to disability benefits alone. Shadow Work and Pension Secretary Helen Whatley said the plans were an attempt to distract attention from the investigation into a £5 million donation to Nigel Farage and his pointless by-election in Clacton. She said, "Reform have nowhere to on the debate of welfare reform. They have flip-flopped on restoring the two-child benefit cap and claim they'll only take benefits away from foreigners, which won't do enough to bring down the overall bill. The Conservatives are on the side of working people, and we're clear about our plans. Restore the two-child benefit gap, end benefits for low-level mental health conditions, remove benefits from foreign nationals, and restore face-to-face assessments." A Labour spokeswoman said that Reform's £50 billion claim is a fantasy economics built on stripping support from disabled people and shifting costs onto employers. She added that the Labour government's reforms to welfare deliver credible independently costed savings, not arbitrary numbers with no credible plan behind them. Now, moving on to other depressing matters. At least 8 families have been able to see their homes for the first time after a huge fire destroyed severely damaged nearly 40 houses in Starbridge. A grass fire at Starbridge Golf Club spread to homes on Thursday, destroying 19 homes and damaging 18 others. Investigators are still working on what caused the blaze. Some of the worst areas include Brunswick Avenue, Landsgate, Outney John Lane, Quarry Park Road and Racecourse Lane. West Midlands Fire Service has been meeting with families on these roads and one by one to discuss the damage and, if safe to do so, show them their homes. Of the 19 destroyed homes, at least 8 families have been able to view their homes, assisted by the fire service at Dudley Council. The MP for Starbridge, Kat Eccles, told ITV News Central that they're ready to support families with the mental health impact the fire may bring. She said there is a lot of smoke, it's very smelly. We're also warning people that their street may look very different to how they remember it from a few days ago. And I think in the coming days we're going to have to be supporting people with a lot of physiological impact of these fires. At the town hall through the council, there's been mental health support offered. We're really grateful to some local trained counsellors that have been offering their services free of charge. I think it's going to be a very long recovery for people. It's not going to be linear. On Friday, there was anger from residents after rumours a meeting was to be held at Starbridge Golf Club, which did not happen. Kat Eccles said we can always improve communications, and that is going to be a learning point going forward. Fire crews are expected to start standing down at the main cordon at the Justice junction of Racecourse Lane and Worcester Lane from Monday. West Midlands Fire Service says the blaze is now completely under control in Starbridge, as some crews remain at the scene dampening down. Almost all of the roads in the affected area are now reopened. Those include Norton Road and the roads off it. Of around 130 properties affected, people have been able to return home to around 106 properties. Chief Fire Officer Simon Tuhill told ITV News Central what it's been like to tackle a fire of this magnitude. He said, "I was at the scene relatively quickly on Thursday and I saw just how challenging the conditions were. The smoke was extensive and the fire was travelling rapidly. I was speaking to firefighters who were absolutely doing their best to try and prevent it spreading to people's properties." Dudley Council said they've been inundated with donations from local people at the town hall and are asking for no more donations. They are directing people to their official crowdfunding page to support those affected. So far, it has surpassed £31,000. They've also been asking locals to be cautious when sharing or donating online to appeals that may be fake. And finally, Ukraine struck Russia with hundreds of drones on Sunday, killing at least 6 people in one of Kyiv's largest aerial attacks of the war. Meanwhile, a Russian missile attack on the central Ukrainian city of Kryvyi killed 2 people and wounded 14 others. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said. Another warehouse belonging to Russia's largest online retailer has also been struck by Ukraine in Kyiv, as Kyiv intensifies its attacks deep inside its neighbour's territory, as our correspondent Amy Lewis reports.
Yesterday, this was a thriving book market, one of the largest in Ukraine. Firefighters spent the night in Kyiv fighting the flames. But this morning, there was nothing left, except anger that Russian strikes had reduced their life's work to ash. This bookstore owner says he's too old to start over.
I heard what was happening at the market and came to see. How could I sleep? How could I stay at home? I guess I'll retire.
Russians also woke up to a sky raging with war. Another warehouse belonging to its largest online retailer, Wildberries, has been struck, this time near Moscow. It denies Ukraine's claim that the company aids its war effort. Attacks have intensified between the two countries in recent weeks, with Ukraine increasing its drone targets deep inside Russia.
What's changed is that the Ukrainians are now able to launch hundreds and hundreds of weapons, be they drones or cruise missiles, in a single night. We've definitely seen an impact on Russian energy production and refining capacity. Whether it's having an impact inside the Kremlin, hard to tell.
More than 4 years have passed since Ukraine was invaded. Those living through the conflict are questioning if it will ever end. Amy Lewis, ITV News.
And just some news before we go. We weren't recording at the time of this news came out, but one of our own had passed away.
To you, the viewers, you make Sky News. You are Sky News. Your engagement, encouragement and feedback have been invaluable over my time here. I hope that I've managed to serve you well. It has been an absolute privilege. Thanks for making this career so worthwhile. I leave you with, I've always wanted to do this, a last look at the headlines. There they are. You stay classy, planet Earth. Goodbye.
What a way to end the show. That is tonight's news at 10, remembering Dermot Merdigan, who has died. For more of us here on News at 10, good night, and thank you very much indeed for watching.